Hi, happy Easter, happy Passover to all our patients. I think we're live now. I believe
I
we're
think
on.
so too. I'm trying to figure out this coolness.
So, welcome everybody. I spoke a couple days ago with everybody talking about what we're going to discuss about health and getting through this time that is kind of rough for everybody. It's something, the new normal, I guess we would call it. I'm Dr. Michael Papa. This is
Dr. Alessandra Colon.
and we're with Papa Chiropractic and Physical Therapy. We've been in practice over 30 years. We have a patient base of about 10,000, whether from the professional athlete to the geriatric, the pediatric groups. And we're going to discuss a little bit to help you get through this time. The thing we discussed last time, and we're going to hit it more appropriately this time and give you some things to do, is everybody right now is playing defense. And defense with coronavirus or defense with the flu or the cold is the mask, social distancing, as well as washing your hands. The washing your hands aspect and keeping clean, and she's looking at me on her phone. This is great.
Figuring this out.
Making sure that we're on is something. Washing your hands on a regular basis is something we should do anyway. When we're talking offense, the best way to fight any sort of health problem or any sort of disease or any sort of flu, cold, virus, you name it, would be healthy. And that's something we take for granted, and people cannot continue to do what they do and expect a change. The definition of insanity, which everybody knows. Don't expect different results by doing the same thing. And you can't keep going to McDonald's and supersizing your meals and not eating right and eating crap. And when you're home and you're sitting in your house right now for 2 weeks, what are you doing? What are you doing that's productive? You're not on vacation. What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for your children? This is the time to talk about health. This is the time to get you better. This is not the time to watch the clock and the news media, the talking heads constantly showing you how many people get sick and how many people are dying. Now's the time to play offense. What do I need to do? Who's responsible for your health? You are. Who's responsible for your children's health? You are. And I tell parents, because we do these workshops across the county for years, you know, when you have kids and they're under 15 years old, and you go in your refrigerator and there are, you know, cake and pie and candy and chips, your child can't go to the store and purchase that and bring it home. You are the one who purchases it and bring it. If it's not in the house, they're not going to eat it. They'll bitch and moan, but they're not gonna have it accessible. When they leave the house, maybe that's it. But right now, you can control their health. So you controlling their health and how they eat, whether they exercise or not, are some of the topics we're going to hit today.
Yeah, but now more than ever, it's funny, we're trying to fall into these laziness, a cycle, a comfortability right now because we don't have anything quote unquote better to do. But actually, it's kind of the opposite in theory. Now that we're lying around a little bit more, we actually need to tighten up our game a little bit. Now's when you really rev up to do the things you need to do for yourself, whether that's eating, exercising, cleanliness, health. It shouldn't have been, hey, now we're in this stressful situation and now we got to take care of our bodies. This is something that whether you're in it for the long run or in it for the short run, all these tips are going to help you regardless of. It's just more important to be present and aware of it during times like this.
In other words, it's time to change your lifestyle. If you don't have a healthy lifestyle now, it's time to do it. How are you going to fight heart disease? Because how are you going to fight diabetes? How are you going to fight these things unless you are doing something about it? So no more excuses. Well, I'll start on Monday. The time is now. You have that framed poster I gave you. It's rent is due today. It's not due next week. My thing is, we're going to start with diet. So, Doc, let's start with diet. What's the first thing? And then I'm going to break this down. What are the things you should be doing with your diet right now?
Hold on. I'm going to pause this for a second here. No one's watching right now.
Yes, they are. They may not be. They may not be programmed.
They can't find us.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any issues finding us? Wait, response. I'm the only one watching.
Well, we boosted
And
this.
everyone's texting me.
This is live on Papa Chiropractic, isn't it? Yeah. Does everybody see us? Samantha, are you on?
I'm not getting a response from anybody that said they're going to be on. Everyone's texting me right now.
Here we go. I can't see. This stuff is in the way. I don't know how this guy came up. What's this say? Leave. Stay on. We are on.
Found you. Hey, Corbett. Okay, we found one. We found.
Anyway, back to live here. This is something we want to talk to. So let's hit diet again.
Diet's been really interesting. I'm kind of an eat freak I'm a crazy person about dieting. I like to eat 5 times a day. But even as healthy as I might be, during this time, I've actually had to really lower my caloric intake. What I'm expending on a daily basis when I'm seeing 200 patients a week, when I'm working out 5 days a week, when I'm doing whatever I gotta do running errands is not equivalent to the caloric output that I'm having right now while I'm sitting at home, a little bit less crazy of a life, a little less schedule that's going on. So I need to remember that what I'm putting in my body needs to be equivalent, if not less, than what I'm actually doing. So where I would normally eat 5 times a day, I'm actually eating 3 times a day. And not only am I eating 3 times a day, I'm actually supplementing that, depending on my output, with a protein shake. And I'm also doing it with good foods. And that is where you really solve solutions in creating a healthy body. It's not just how much you're eating, it's what you're putting in, what fuels you're doing. So for me particularly, he knows this, I'm very, very, very high protein diet. The American diet is really interesting. If you look at a plate, they take the carb and they make the carb this big. They put the protein at medium and they put the little veggie right here. When in reality, it should be completely reversed. Your protein should be as big as your carbohydrate group and on that plate. Your vegetables should be the medium and your little carbs are right there. And we love to indulge in that, but now is when it's really going to count. You want to put on the weight? Go for it. You want to do things right and come out of this a better person? Then start eating your proteins and increasing your veggies.
Let's talk about hydration, Doc.
Oh.
You should be drinking, and we discussed this again, but this here is probably the number one thing when it comes to your diet is how much water you drink a day. Not coffee, not tea, not soda, water. You should be drinking 1/3 your body weight in ounces in water. Minimum. We live in Florida here. Those who are watching us that aren't in Florida, may not have to have as much, but your body's made up of mostly water. So hydration will help you, 1, increase your energy, 2, lose weight, 3, replenish.
And 3, detox.
And
Detox by your
4,
body.
Detox and get out all of the free radicals and help flush the body. You need to be drinking water. And when we say 1/3, it's like if you're 150 pounds, you divide it by 3. So you should be drinking about 50 ounces of water a day. We discuss this on every single time we go live or with our workshops. However, because it's the most important.
You can tell I took very dry.
So if you don't do that, you're not going to see the results. If you leave this live once and you do nothing but the water, you're going to see a result. You're going to see a result in your health. If you can't get up, you can't exercise because you got bad knees or whatever, we'll have an exercise for you if you can't. Because there's no such thing as you can't exercise.
And I think it's really easy right now. Again, we're kind of lounging around. We're having our margarita. We're, doing what we need to do. But understand that it's fine. It's okay to do that. But if you're going to be doing some of those quote-unquote unhealthier activities, make sure you're following up with the healthier activities. So me personally, I'll take, my little margarita, but then I have followed up with a glass of water. Because remember, what you're putting in is going out as well.
And we're not saying you should be drinking any alcohol right now.
However.
Because people, social drinkers, and then people can't be a social drinker. But let's just stay with the health aspect of it because everybody has their vices. And so with the water, that's the number one thing. Now, certain foods that you should tend to go to would be high alkaline foods. High alkaline foods. Lemons, very healthy for you. And ginger, another one. Wheatgrass, another one.
Honey, although sweetener, but it's good for you.
Yeah, you want to keep positive vegetables. You want to make sure you're washing them, and you can eat raw vegetables as well. Raw vegetables a little bit better for the fiber to help push through your intestines as well as nutritionally to get your vitamin A, your C, your D, your E, and so forth. to help build your immune system.
And don't be afraid to supplement things. Dave and I, my husband and I, have been very creative at home with making lettuce tacos. We've been doing zucchini burgers and taking out those carbohydrates that aren't so good for us, and sliding up a little bit of zucchini, putting it on the grill, and making burgers out of it. Don't be afraid to get creative in the kitchen so that you can have healthier versions of the things you actually like to eat. It's not that much of a sacrifice to maybe eat your guacamole with some cucumbers. Believe it or not, it's really delicious. But again, taking out those carbohydrates that aren't good for you during this time and supplementing it with water and good nutritious food.
If anybody has a question as we're talking, you could please send the questions to us. We'll be happy to answer them. And if you don't want to do it on live here, you can always call our office as well. Our information, obviously, if you're on our website, Facebook right now, you have the number. But this here is information, things you should be doing on your own. You should be supplementing with vitamins. I'm not advocate of promoting any particular brand of vitamin. You just should do your due diligence. You should look them up. You should talk to people, some of the better true health food stores. Talk to their advice there. But you want a whole natural vitamin, because the fruits and vegetables that we're eating today, unfortunately, the way the soil, it doesn't rotate, we're not getting the true nutrition. A vitamin is a supplement. A supplement means something you're not getting in your own diet. So if you're not eating as well as you should, you definitely need to be supplementing.
I personally love to, my favorite thing in the morning is I have a little shake. I put my greens. I went to my local health food store and I get all my greens in one powder shake. Put in a little bit of coconut or almond milk, a banana, and peanut butter, and I'm saturated with good fats, good greens, and I've supplied myself with everything it needs to live for the day.
This is all about building your immune system, and this is what people don't understand. Yeah, you can try to avoid people and sit in your house and get fat and out of shape, and you're not going to get the coronavirus, but then you're going to die of a heart attack or respiratory failure, or you're going to get degenerative changes in your hips and so forth because you can't support your weight. So the thing is, you need to get out, you need to move besides the diet. So the water, the hydration is number one. Put in positive, good foods, and with snacks, you can do things as simple as, like Doc was saying, you can do a small shake, you can do something at 100 calories would be a snack. You can do grapes, you can do olives, you can do things that are higher protein, lower carbs to maintain your energy.
And for those of you who are just chiming in, we're really talking about differentiation and being in a moment like this, we're at home and playing that defense versus the offense. And right now we're on that topic of offense, where we're supplying our food, our bodies with fuel, whether that's hydration, whether that's food, and shortly we're going to get into exercise. So you're really, and what I find interesting about a lot of things is all the things that we're going to talk about today are very common, but we don't commonly practice them for some reason. We tend to get a little bit lazy in that. And a lot of the simple things I always ask myself is whether it's exercise, whether it's water, whether it's food, is one simple thing. Is it supplying you with energy? And energy equates oxygen. So think about this, and let's break it down together. We just talked about water, and what's in water? H2O. So what did I just replenish my body with? Oxygen, okay? Then we're talking about green foods, right? Those are another form of oxygen that I'm putting in my body and giving myself more energy. So, and then we're going to get into what we would call exercise or aerobic activity. Break that down. Aerobic sounds like oxygen. So let's get into exercise while we're at it.
So instead of sitting there and binging on Netflix, eating donuts right now, get up off your couch.
Hi, Laura.
That's one of the number one things you should do. You shouldn't just be sitting around. We're sucking our brain cells out by watching a lot of funny videos and all this thing, Netflix binging every movie on the couch. And you can't watch 8 to 12 hours a day of TV and expect a result in your health, and expect, unless you're watching documentaries and educational stuff, to mentally be able to be where you need to be, which helps you physically, and it's a distressor. But let's talk about exercise. You should be exercising right now 3 hours a day, but let's be honest, because you have nothing else to do, and you don't have to just exercise in the morning. You can go for a walk at night as well. If you're exercising, you're moving. If you're moving, the blood is flowing. If the blood is flowing, you're getting oxygen, like Doc was saying, to the tissues, which helps heal. So you should be doing, it used to be 20 minutes of aerobic activity, which is at target heart rate, which I covered at one of the other lives, which is 220 minus your age times the percentage of fitness you feel you're at. Meaning, times 70%, you're not in shape. Times 80%, you're in pretty good shape. 90%, you're an elite athlete and you're a runner. So we're not going to get to the Orange Theory end of how they hit the orange zone, but this is just a general workout, and it should be done at that rate of your pulse for at least 20 minutes. But right now, go for a half hour to an hour.
Walk. If you're not walking, and again, there's different climates. We got cold climates like my friends in Utah. We have us here in Florida. Even if it's getting on the phone and being creative and going up and down your stairs, it's getting on the phone and calling somebody and pacing around your living room. Get the steps in, get the movement in. One of the things that Dr. Papa and I were really talking about is this has really created a lethargy of the mind. And in order to create these habits, you really need to focus on getting scheduled. It's really easy for us to sit around and play whatever we want to play, but what ends up happening is we give ourselves no boundaries. We eat when we want to eat. We can play this game we want to play. I can do this tomorrow. But the reality is now more than ever, wake up and say, hey, I'm going to make my bed today. I got to have breakfast by 9. Fine, lollygag around. I got to go on a walk by 10. It gives your brain something to look forward to and something to keep the momentum going. By sitting around, you're not going to get anything done. And guess what happens? You end up snacking. And when it's time for lunch, you're not hungry. So again, you're creating these bad habits unconsciously without even realizing, because you weren't scheduling yourself to do things as big or small as they may seem to you. So even if it's, I got to chop those vegetables by 11:30 because we got to eat lunch at 12, do it. Right now is the time to make those small differences and those small changes in your life.
When you don't want to exercise, you're sitting on the couch and you say, okay, somebody drags your butt off the couch or out of a chair or out of bed, and they say, come on, let's go for a walk or let's go for a run. And you're like, I really don't want to do it. Okay, I don't want to hear them. You know, which is more painful, hearing them bitch at me all day or actually going and exercise. Let me just keep them happy and I'll exercise. You exercise, you get your workout in, whether it's a half hour, an hour, and guess what? Afterwards, you feel better. Because exercise increases the endorphins and enkephalins in your brain, which increases your energy level, which increases the ability of your body to make the neurotransmitters more effectively through your adrenal glands, through your pancreas, through your thyroid. In other words, it generates the body. The body knows you're doing something positive. And the other thing, too, is you don't want to come off the couch and say, okay, you got me motivated, and you're out of shape, and then you try to run 3 miles. No. Slow, steady steps. That's what's going to get you. But, you know, your exercise level affects every single aspect of your body. And if you just sit on your butt and you don't do anything, and I don't care, you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to run. You could just go out and make believe you're playing tennis. You know? You ever do that when you're a kid? You just phantom? You make believe you're having a catch with yourself? Well, make believe you're playing tennis in your living room. Run back and forth. Make believe somebody's throwing a ball at you. I mean, whatever you need to do to make yourself, let's say, entertained. Because exercise, let's face it, I exercise, it's boring, right? We want some sort of entertainment. So go live on screen with one of your friends and do, you know, the challenge thing. I'm not into the challenge because people that challenge each other, most of the times they just do it once and then they want to sit and watch everybody else's challenge rather than do something themselves. Be a participant. Don't be a spectator. Don't be a victim. And that's the problem I see is everybody right now are victims. They're sitting in front of their TV. Woe is me. You know, they want to carry the thing, and everybody knows more than everybody else. Oh, I know that. Well, no, just take care of your own body and your family and your children.
The best part is not only it's so fun. Not only is everybody playing this victim role, but even more so, they don't even realize the words that are coming out of their mouth in playing that victim. Right now, we're talking about exercise, but all these people who are refusing to do the exercise, what's their number one complaint right now? I'm tired. I can't sleep at night. I have anxiety. I have stress. These are all signs that your body is telling you, that you're verbally saying to yourself out loud, and it's all signs that your body is not expending. Your body is not ridding of toxicity and expending enough energy. So that's why things like simple exercise are so important. You need to be able to lie your head down at night and know that your body detoxed a little bit. So you go into rest and digest phase, because sleep is also really important. And believe it or not, people are getting very lethargic, and we have a lot of anxious people, depression settling in. And again, it's why it's so important to be on that schedule and exercise.
Get off the hamster wheel. Because what's happening is you get lethargic,
Hi,
you get
Samantha.
tired, and then not only that, but then guess what? Then you get depressed.
And feel free to ask us any questions. We're so happy to answer anything.
I know Cheryl's jogging in place right now as she's watching this with her holding her
She's counting
dog in
her
one
steps.
hand. So the thing is, we want to not be victims because this, yes, as bad as it is, everybody's quarantined and people are getting sick. It's a change in lifestyle. The tragedy is people need to know what they need to do for themselves. Nobody's getting educated on overall health. If you, excuse me, take care of yourself, you'll be able to help more people. So you are responsible for your health. The doctors on TV aren't responsible. The president's not responsible. The congressmen aren't responsible. Your insurance company's not responsible. You are. So the food you put in your mouth, guess what? You know if you should or you shouldn't. You can Google anything today, and you can find out, I say do a high alkaline diet. People say, well, give me some alkaline foods. Google it, high alkaline foods. It'll give you a list of the number ones. If you go in a shopping cart and you go to Publix, because guess what? Right now, there's not a shortage of water. There's not a shortage of food. They're throwing out fruits and vegetables. These farmers that go to these fresh markets that sell their produce on the weekends are throwing their food out. So buy some fresh vegetables and stuff. Nobody's, twisting your arm to eat the ice cream or twisting your arm to eat the Oreos, but it seems like somebody has to twist your arm to have some broccoli and some cauliflower.
Well, what's so funny is I find it so interesting personally for me is how many times before all this happened, how many times did you tell yourself, well, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to work out, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. And now all of a sudden, you got nothing to do, and you're not abiding by the simple rules that you wanted to abide by yourself.
So what do you do?
So I'm going to challenge you to planning, and
Write a
I'm keeping
list.
promises that, hey, I made a lot of promises to myself that I couldn't keep, and myself included. But I'm going to ask you to reverse that role a little bit. I'm going to ask you to take your mind, switch the script a little bit, and say, hey, you know what? I remember when I said I was going to. I remember when I said I was too busy. And why don't I spend the time now creating that? So I'm just a little positive, a little food for thought there. Think about your promises.
Make a to-do list. And guess what? Take that to-do list and start breaking it down, and then the steps you need to do to get to it. Make a list that you have to do every day, and as soon as you get up, after you exercise, you hit that to-do list. Don't say, oh, wow, I want to watch this movie's on right now.
I got my work.
Make believe you're going to work. Make believe you have to get up and you got to go to work. Start doing this. Get the things done.
We've really been focusing on those projects. And by the way, it doesn't have to be eating all this kind of stuff. My promises were as simple as, hey, I want to be a little bit more creative and spend time journaling. And you know what that has done? That's de-stressed me. Okay? So my mind's not going 100 miles an hour when I go to bed at night. So it doesn't have to be a big goal. It can be something really simple for yourself.
People tend to go more towards things that create pleasure than things that create pain. For instance, exercise. You take all the exercises you like to do, and then you take all the exercises you don't like to do. Get rid of the ones you like to do, because the ones you don't like to do are usually the ones you really need to do, and they're more difficult. Same thing with your to-do list. You make that to-do list and you write it out, and the things you really don't want to do are on the bottom of the list because you want to avoid it, but most of the time they're the most important things. Taking care of yourself physically will help take care of yourself mentally. That's the point that we're trying to get across. Nobody is out there preaching what you should do. As much as you say, well, I got to exercise and everything else, you're going to turn us off. You're going to put the TV on, and you're going to hear about how Burger King's looking out for you, and how McDonald's is looking out for you, and Breyer's ice cream is looking out for you, and Oreo cookies are looking out for you. Oh yeah, they're looking out for you, and there'll be more of you to see if you go to them. My point is, it's a little bit of something bad is not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to your diet, but you have to stay on track. You have to do what it is for yourself rather than wait for somebody to tell you. Stop waiting for them to tell you on the news you can go out, because guess what? Quarantine gets lifted on Monday. everybody's going to be like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? My Netflix, I'm watching a series, I'm in the middle of it, I'm going to stay up. No, you know, sleep is important too, and we kind of miss that aspect of it, but don't get too much sleep. And too many people get way too, and now,
It
how
creates
many of you,
lethargy.
right, you get up, you have breakfast, you watch Netflix, guess what you do? You're taking a nap. And then you get up again, you eat lunch, you take a nap. Get off your butt.
And you start wondering
Right.
why you're more and more tired every single day. There's a very big difference in being tired from expending energy, and there's a really big difference from being tired because the body's not expending energy, becoming lethargic. That there's a very different weighing scale in those two things. So napping is one thing, but don't get so lethargic at the house that you start creating that habit, and every day you're waking up going, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. So it is really, really important. There's a massive difference between the two.
Find something that's mentally stimulating for you. Don't just watch movies. Find something.
Read a book.
Or something you want to do, or where you're going to see yourself in a year from now in your job, or not your job, in 5 years from now. Once you start writing down where you want to be, and then figure out how am I going to get there. And let me tell you, that's going to take you a week to do. There's a lot of little steps to break down to do that, and watch something that's going to help you. Get on the TV, find a documentary, find a series on YouTube that's going to teach you to do things to enable you to be better at what you presently do, or a hobby, or a new type of job, or I want to, you know, develop ant farms
I think
and
one
learn.
of the moral of stories here is we're in a very inopportune time, if you want to say that. But now is actually the time to create that opportunity. So actually, I'll give a shout out to my friend Corbett. He spent some time and he just opened up his own company, went live with that. Now's the time to really look into your dreams, sit down, write, plan, whether that's tomorrow, the things you couldn't do. I actually sat down with my journal yesterday, and I planned the things that I had to do, like tomorrow, like my grocery shopping, and maybe I'm going to plan this meal out right because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to go to the grocery store 5 times this week. But then I also made a list on my right-hand column of all my long-term things. For me, that was getting established a 401k. It could be simple. Make it personal to you, but don't sit around. Create the opportunity for yourself, no matter how big or small.
If for some reason God's given us this time to stay home,
Use it.
don't waste it. And I think too many people are wasting it because they don't know what to do. We're doing this to try to stimulate. We're working. Our offices are open. You know, we're staff, and we wear masks. We're keeping the tables on. Pain doesn't take the weekend off. If they need to rehab themselves, we teach them what to do at home. But don't waste your time. You have 2 weeks off just now. What did you accomplish in the past 2 weeks? What have you accomplished sitting at home for the past 2 weeks other than watching the news? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about where you want to be? Because everybody is bitching and complaining right now, but nobody's proactive. When I see people and I'm thinking, my God, what are they doing all day? You know, some people are going to come out of this making themselves more successful, because when we come out of this, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. What it's going to be is I don't know, and nobody knows, but there's going to be opportunities for those who are prepared to grow faster and more are going to be extremely more successful than they are now. Those who are going to come out who did nothing are going to be right where they are or worse off. So it's up to you.
To make that decision, to make that choice.
This was Holy Week for the Christians, which I am, as well as Doc. We want to wish you a happy Easter, you know,
Passover. Happy holiday.
and Passover for our Jewish friends. You know, just take this time to realize where you want to be. Take this time to realize what mistakes you've made and how you're going to correct them.
Have self-reflection.
And you need to take care of yourself. We want to thank you. Enjoy tomorrow. Pray. And we'll see you next week. We're going to go live individually as well as together. So look for our posts.
We miss
and
you guys.
Tune in. Hopefully, you know, everybody got a little bit of something out of this. And as soon as they turn us off, you're going to get off your butts and you're allowed to go outside, guys. Okay? Enjoy your day.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.